Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Peace and security take center stage in Addis Ababa as President Muhammadu Buhari joins other leaders to discuss ways of resolving conflicts on the continent. Troops of Operation Lafia Dole killed 7 suspected Boko Haram insurgents after running into the group along the dreaded Sambisa forest. First local government elections in Osun State in 10 years records low turnout of voters with just 6 political parties taking part. And a suicide bombing in Afghan's capital Kabul has left at least 95 persons dead after attackers drove an explosive-laden ambulance through a police checkpoint. For more on our top stories and others, please visit our website. It's channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channels, where you can find our videos. Log on to m.channelstv.com to watch us on your mobile device or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. The Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You'll also have access to the Eyewitness feature, which you can use to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. Well, here are some of the pictures that you sent to our Eyewitness portal, and we begin first with this one, which shows a collapsing bridge in need of an urgent reconstruction. Our Eyewitness reporter says that the bridge links Amaruru town in Osu local government area of Imo State to a town in Nnewi South local government area of Anambra State. He wants it fixed as soon as possible to prevent any dangerous occurrence. We'll move on to Ogun State with this picture showing an NNPC filling station in Isale-Oko area of Shagamu. Our Eyewitness reporter alleges that the attendant prefers to sell to buyers with jerrycans only, who will later on sell at the black market. He wants this to be stopped as quickly as possible. And to Oyo State with this image of an FRSC official hanging onto a moving patrol vehicle at our area. Our Eyewitness condemns this act and complains about the dressing of the official, which he says is indecent. And we end with this picture from Badagry area of Lagos State showing a refuse dump, which our Eyewitness reporter says has taken over the Okoko bus stop. He's calling on the refuse collecting agency to do something about it and prevent the attendant health consequences that comes with such. We do sincerely thank you for sending in those pictures, as we ask that you keep them coming. Funding infrastructure projects across the country continues to be a huge challenge for the federal government. But right now, the federal government is taking a bold step to ask the National Assembly to approve $30 billion national borrowing plan for the project. In January this year, the federal government announced the release of 72 billion naira as counterpart funding for the Lagos-Ibadan rail project. The fund is expected to help the country secure $1.5 billion Chinese loan from Lagos for the Lagos-Ibadan rail.
Transportation is an indispensable part of human activity, which forms the basis of all socio-economic action. It is a well-known fact that no two locations will interact effectively without a viable means of movement. In many developing countries, including Nigeria, inadequate transport facilities are often the norm rather than the exception. Thus, a good transport system is essential to support economic growth and development. Of these transportation systems, rail mode of transport is our focus. Railways are run, operated and managed by the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Nigeria's rail system has about 3,984 kilometers of track, all of which are in Cape gauge form. The country operates two major rail lines, which are the Western Line that connects Lagos to Nguru, a local government area in Yobe State, and an Eastern Line that connects Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. The Lagos-Kano standard gauge rail line is being built in segments to replace the Western Line. Several metro systems are also under construction. Rail transport is usually the most suitable mode of transportation for heavy traffic flows, when speed is also an advantage because of the lower cost per person per load as the train load increases. However, rail mode of transport has contributed less in value addition to transportation in Nigeria. This continues to be the case because road transport has virtually taken over all the traffic previously conveyed by rail. The President Muhammadu Buhari administration has reaffirmed its commitment in imputing vigor in railway development in Nigeria through the implementation of the 25-year Strategic Railway Master Plan. For this reason, the government is on the verge of signing a contract agreement with General Electric for the rehabilitation of the rail lines across the country to ensure they are put to use in the very shortest time.
The Nigerian Railway Modernization Project Abuja.
This administration has also shown commitment by completing and flagging off for commercial operations the Abuja-Kaduna Standard Gauge Railway on the 26th of July 2016, a project started by the Jonathan administration. Also recently, the Minister of Transport, Mr. Chibuike Amechi, who inspected the Lagos-Ibadan rail line project, expressed optimism on its 2018 completion date. Some other projects that have been given approval are the construction of Abuja-Itakpe rail line, the Jakarta-Warri line, which will be completed in June 2018, as well as the rail lines from Kano to Kazaure, Naura, Katsina, Jibia, as well as linking some other cities in Niger Republic, expected to commence in earnest this year. After the completion of these various projects, the government believes that over 1 million permanent jobs should be created, which will reduce pressure on the country's road network and make it easy to transport large cargo volumes.
Let's take a broader look at the issue. Joining us on the news at 10 from our Abuja studio is the Managing Director, Bank of Infrastructure, Mr. Adekunle Onyiloye. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at this time. Is the China Exim Bank the only option for financing standard rail gauge network for Nigeria? What do you think?
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having me. China, for now, is one of the few countries with enough reserve and the willingness to spend and particularly commit their capital to the development of other countries. Yes, they are not the only one, but interestingly, they have been the biggest friends of Africa at this moment. But I'm sure there are other countries across the world, particularly in the US and Canada, who are also equally willing. In fact, Germany, using their own Exim Bank too, and French using their Exim Bank are also equally available to spend. But interestingly, Chinese is the biggest spender at the moment.
So is that predicated on a lower interest rate, do you think?
Usually any ECA, which is Export Credit Agency finance projects, usually come with lower interest rate. Now, the interest rate as a factor is a function of so many things, but country-to-country borrowing, which is often done through the ECAs, are usually at a lower rate of interest, usually. They're lower than the commercial borrowing rates.
Now, this is what we know. Decaying infrastructure is one of the bane of development in Nigeria and especially railway system in the country. What do you think about the strides so far taken to make railway attractive for investors?
I think government is doing a whole lot in that direction. We are late in this particular development because if you recall, centuries back, almost 100 years ago, it was when we were last active in railway development. And the attempt was made to do what they call the new line, that is Itakpe to Warri. And lately, the one we have done successfully is Abuja to Kaduna, and the metro within the city of Abuja. Railway is a major development, and I'm happy that government is paying attention to it now, because it moves the greatest number of freight and people within a very environmental friendly space. I think we would need to do more, because if we go by way of what we had planned to do, the National Integrated Infrastructure Masterplan, we were supposed to have started since 2014. We were supposed to have expended about $6 billion within that space. We haven't done anything. I think government should be commended for the step, but it should be more coordinated and more determined in ensuring that we have, a viral railway development in Nigeria.
Is that the whole cost, though, trying to fix this double standard gauge network system in the country? You said $6 billion to try to complete all of that. Will that also cover other links like Abuja, Itakpe, Kano, Kazauri, Katsina, and even other ones that are not even mentioned?
No, what I said was that was the plan for the rehabilitation of the existing lines. Was planned to have, commit about $6 billion between 2014 and 2018. We are currently in 2018. We haven't really done much in the rehabilitation. Most of the ones you're talking about, they are also part of the existing lines, but the ones that are being planned now will definitely be much more than that. What we require will be more than that. In fact, from 2000 up to 2023, we were expected to spend another $10 billion US. So it's all about calibration, it's about proper costing, but no investment in railway is ever too much because of the multiplier effect of it and the ease of movement. Most of the trailers you've seen on the road now will probably not have a space to ply the road again. They have no reason to be on the road, particularly for haulaging fuel and goods across the country. When we were growing up, we were not seeing trailers in the number we are currently seeing them. So no investment is ever too much in that direction.
You are indeed the managing director of the Bank of Infrastructure, and you're in charge there. And a lot of people will wonder what your role is trying to improve on that particular infrastructure. Apart from rail, for instance, you should be looking at other infrastructure developments. But let's focus on the rail. What are you doing about that?
Yes, it's interestingly, we're the Bank for Infrastructure, and that's the name. And we're working with the federal government and a number of state governments in ensuring that we bring core infrastructure to the table. We're also working with the three tiers of government in ensuring that even private capital join the resources of the public sector in the delivery of infrastructure. And what is TIB doing, you ask? Thank you very much for that question. In the city of Lagos, if you remember, Lagos planned 7 lines as a major mass transit solution for the city of Lagos. And any major modern city in the world, railway movement, railway transportation is key to it. And I really applaud the Lagos State attempt. We created, along with other investors, a consortium that bidded for the Red Line in Lagos. And that Red Line is a 37-kilometer metro that leaves Marina up to Agbado. I'm afraid that
we're going to have to end it there. My sincere apologies. I'm afraid that we're going to have to end that very interesting discussion about the development and your scores, your strides in trying to improve on rail transportation in the country. Many thanks indeed, Mr. Adekunle Oyinloye, the Managing Director, Bank for Infrastructure. And when the news at 10 returns, Naira strengthens. The Central Bank of Nigeria boosts interbank forex market with additional $304 million. That's some business news. Join us again.